everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we're going to be playing with all new releases. I have the Hindash collection, I picked up everything in the new collection. I also have the Givenchy matte foundation. So I'm going to show you all of that. And then the mascara today, hopefully that went up in a video on the 14th at noon, I believe. It's the new mascara from Cosmetics. So if you're interested in seeing that, just stay tuned. Okay, hair is back. It's being a little flyaway today, but it's back. As I said, today's going to be all new makeup, all new releases. I have been trying to sprinkle in videos with the new releases and then videos using makeup that's already in my collection. I got a lot of great recommendations from all of you about videos that you'd like to see. Don't worry, they're on the slate. I'm working through those. There's been a lot of new releases, a lot of products dropped all at once. And I want to make sure that we are all cognizant of the fact that we all have makeup that we maybe sometimes forget about or we don't use, and it's, you know, some of it is really good makeup. There's a lot of products that I have in my collection that are excellent that I don't pull out enough because I'm always working my way through the new releases, so I'm trying to make sure I incorporate those, and so more of those types of videos will be coming. But today, like I said, it is all new makeup. It's Givenchy, the matte makeup, and the entire Hindash collection, the new Hindash collection. So let's talk about the foundation really quick. This is a skin caring matte foundation. It cares about your skin. It's nice to hear. 24-hour luminous matte wear. I have never worn anything for 24 hours, I have to say. Closest I ever came is I had to go to Alaska for work in January. This was many years ago. And it took me, it's a long story about why it took me this long, but it took almost 21 hours to get there. So that's probably the longest, and I have no idea what foundation I was wearing at that point. It was a very long time ago. So we'll see how this works. At the moment, I have nothing on my skin except my brows are done, and that's about it, and some skincare. So I'm gonna take a little moment. If you wanna fast forward, this will probably take like 3 or 4 minutes, but I wanna mention something because it came up, and I always try to be very transparent with all of you. Someone left a comment on one of my videos, and honestly, I don't remember which one it was. And I usually don't, usually when somebody leaves a comment that's like less than flattering, I just, honestly, I just ignore them. Because, you know, social media that's just what you get. You get the great, and then you get the not so great, and that's fine. If people are really caustic or, you know, cruel or mean or anything, yes, they're gone. I get rid of people like that because honestly, it's not really about me at that point. Like that's fine. I can deal with it. But I don't want to set up that type of forum. I don't think that's a healthy thing. I think people want to come here to get away from things, a lot going on in the world. You just, you know, relax, talk about makeup, and just kind of chill. So I try to remove that type of atmosphere. But someone made a comment about me being unhealthy or something, and I don't really remember what it related to. And it is true, I have a thyroid condition. I've talked about it many times, which, you know, I was born with it. I'm gonna always have it. I treat it. I have a great endocrinologist, all those things. And I did hot yoga. I go back actually tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the reason I'm bringing it up. So somebody said that my forehead was like too smooth, and yes, Botox is great for your forehead, but you know, it can't fix the rest of you, which is true. The thing I want to mention is I don't have any Botox right now, so I'm taking it as a compliment that I actually look like I do, which is awesome. But I think you can tell, anyone who's ever had Botox, you can see I don't have it, because I have lines, and I have lines here, and all kinds of stuff. So, especially these. I have lines up into my forehead. It's really strange. I don't get them here, I get them here. Who knows? It's all about your muscle placement and all that good stuff. I am, however, going to get some Botox. I've made an appointment to go get some. So if I like I said, I always tell you guys what I do. When I had my brows microbladed, I told you. And I'm gonna get some lasers later this year. So yeah, so I am gonna be getting some Botox. So we'll see what that does to this. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. You can see the lines, and the lines around my eyes and stuff. The thing about Botox, if all of you aren't, some of you might not be familiar what it looks like. if you've had Botox, and most people, there's different ways you can have it done. It's kind of an art, actually, the way doctors do it. But when you see that it's done, maybe even especially people who, in my opinion, overdo it a little bit. But again, you do you, it's your face. Do whatever you want to it. Your skin will look really tight and shiny, like shiny. It looks like, almost like, looks like you have like moisturizer on. Like it looks really shiny and really tight. And there's no lines, guys. There's like, if you see somebody with Botox, I mean, it's pulled back, it's super tight. It's almost like you can't have an expression. And that's usually the sign, not always, because some people like that look, but that's usually the sign that somebody might have gotten a little too much Botox. And then filler. Filler means that like, there's no depressions in your skin. Like there's no hollows under your eyes. There's no nasal blow, I forget what these are called, lines around your mouth. You can put filler in all of that. So you'll see people who look very tight, very shiny, and nothing moves. That's Botox. And then a lot of times, actually, I've seen people who their acne clears up when they get Botox. Now, there's differing opinions on whether or not that's true, but I've actually seen it. So I think it can do it. It has something to do with, and a dermatologist can help me here, but it has something to do with the sebum underneath your, like if you get deep enough, it stops producing that, so you don't have as much acne. So if you ever see somebody who has like super shiny, very tight, very lineless skin, more than likely they've had Botox. In my opinion, I feel like if that's what you like, it's your face. Do what you want with it. I do not see the point of being upset about something that someone else has done to their face. Or their body or anything else. As long as it's not hurting anyone else, it's your face, it's your body. Do what you like. Same with makeup, right? Like, wear what you like, do what you like. So I am gonna get some Botox and we'll see what happens. The dermatologist that I go to, and she's I actually have a more than I need to. She's like certified in double things, and she's extremely good. And so I am gonna get some Botox and we'll see how it looks. I think, now that I'm about to be 50, I think, it will help with these lines here. And it also can be preventative, so you don't, create deeper lines as you get older. So just wanted to give you that sort of knowledge if you wanted it. Maybe you don't care, but somebody mentioned it and I was like, thank you for that compliment that you think I have Botox in my forehead, because I do not, but I'm about to. So you'll notice it. Well, I think you will, because I think it'll look better, or at least I hope. So we'll see. All right, so I fast forwarded through all that, which is fine. This is the Givenchy Prisme Libre Skin Caring Matte Foundation. I have it in 2C180. I think this is my shade. I have this in the Skin Caring Glow Foundation, Prisme Libre Skin Caring Glow, and it's TC180. So same shade. We'll see if there's a difference in the shade. I really like this foundation, the Glow one. I think it's really good. I really, really like it. So hopefully I like this one too. It might be a tad deep for me now because I am so pale now, guys. I don't know what happened. I really don't. I haven't been outside. Okay, so here's the Glow and here's the matte, and they are different in shade, actually, even though they're the same color, like the same number, they are different. So the Skin Caring Glow, like I said, it's T2C180, and it's right here. And it's definitely that beigey rose, which I prefer, but you can see the matte is actually a little bit lighter, a little bit peachier, which will be fine. I think both are actually a little deep on me now because I'm just so pale. But anyway, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be so deep that we'll have a problem with it. I just think it might be a little too deep for my paleness right now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so funny because I didn't really notice it until the Dior foundation, and I was trying out the Dior foundation and I realized that I was a 0 and not a 1. And I was like, wow, okay. I guess I got paler than I thought. So, that's what staying inside for 2 years will do to you. And it's true. I mean, before I was out doing some things, and I was never one to sit in the sun because I am so pale and I burn. So I haven't, sat in the sun in a very long time. but I was at least out doing things, and yeah, not doing that anymore. So, well, very, very, very little anyway. So I'm traveling for work soon again, beginning of April, I think. So I will vlog a little. My work, like when I'm working, is not, it's not like some people's jobs where they're like, you know, if they're in the beauty industry or something, like where they're out doing like, you know, events. I'm not doing that, but I can still show you a little bit of where I go and what I bring with me. So if you're interested in all that, I could definitely do that. Okay. Since I do have my brows done, I'm being careful with this area. Now, I did not use a full pump of foundation. I should also show you, I showed you the shade, but what I didn't show you was the consistency. It is very creamy. Doesn't run. It just sits there. So it's very creamy. Doesn't run at all. Like I said, a little bit too deep for me, but it's, I don't think it's, you know, bad. I think it's the right tone. I think it's definitely the right undertone. I just think now that I'm so pale, I think I'm gonna have to adjust. Like a lot of my foundations are probably gonna be a little too deep for me until I go back outside and start getting some sun. All right, that looks quite nice. I don't see any problems with it. I don't see, it's not settling. It doesn't look cakey. I think it is important if you have dry skin though to use a good moisturizer underneath. I think it's also important to make sure you shake it up. Yeah, I don't see any problems with the way it went on. I'm looking just to see if it has alcohol in it. It does. Yep. Water, silica, alcohol. Alcohol is one of the, let's see, top 5. Something to keep in mind. Okay. It feels nice though. It feels very comfortable. It like just kind of sunk right into my skin. The skin looks really pretty. It does look like a radiant matte. It doesn't look super mattifying. I'd say this is probably light medium coverage. It covers up a lot of the imperfections in my skin pretty easily. I bet you could build it. I'm not gonna try that because on dry skin, when you start building mattes, I don't love that, to be honest with you. I don't really like a very heavy foundation. I like a light foundation. Tinted moisturizers tend to work for me, like most of the time. But for work and stuff, this is good because you want a little bit more coverage. I like the Dior one. This one's beautiful. The Chanel matte, Ultra Latent, is great. So I'm actually loving the new mattes that have come out because I think people realized, people making the makeup were like, hey, not everybody has oily skin. There are people out there who have dry skin that would like a little bit more of a matte finish, but you know, can't handle like a super matte foundation. So the one thing I will say, it is not accentuating lines, but you know, the lines I have around my eyes, you can see them more when you like squint because it's a matte foundation and not like super moisturizing. So if you have a lot of lines, I think it would settle a little into them. We'll see how it dries down. We'll see how it dries down. Okay, so on first pass, I think it looks really nice. Nice finish. Like I said, the shade is like the tiniest bit too deep, but all in all, I think it's pretty good. It was the shade that I was before, and now I'm not. All right, Hindash. Okay, so I did not pick up the former one, the Butopsy. Was it Butopsy? And this is Monochromance. I get it. It's cute. I like it. So I didn't pick up the first one. The reason I didn't pick up the first one, this is 100% vegan, made in Italy, 24 months, which is awesome. That's 2 years. That is excellent. It's a pressed pigment palette. I might pick up the other one, depending on how I feel about this after we play around with it, because it's on sale right now. And the reason isn't because of the reason that I think a lot of people have given. I have heard from a lot of people that they feel like this is intimidating. They feel like they look at this and they're like, I don't know what I can do with it. So today I'm going to show you how this is simple to use and actually how this is easier to use than a lot of palettes that are out there. The reason I didn't pick up the original one is I felt like I could recreate this palette with all the shades that I have. And I didn't really feel like it was necessary for me. I was like, I have these shades. However, I can see how this actually would be really good for somebody who doesn't really feel super comfortable with makeup. And I know first looking at it, you're like, what? This looks more complicated. It really isn't, because all the shades for one look are like in one little palette. You could make an eye look a really good one out of just this, or just this, or just this. And that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna pick a color and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But you can also use these for bronzer, contour. I'd say more contour for me. But I'll show you what I'm talking about. And blush, so, and a little bit of highlighter. So I really think this is easier to use than you think. And like I said, the reason I didn't pick up the first one, I was kind of like, I don't need it. Now, like I said, depending on how good this palette is, I might pick up the other one. I also picked up the lip liner, the eyeliner, and the two lips. So let's take a look at the lip liner. This is in Hush. It reminds me, it's like a creamy pencil, but it's not super creamy. It's not like the Sisley ones, but that can be okay, because sometimes a softer pencil, it can bleed too much, or it can move too much, and on older lips that can be a problem. And then Intra is the pencil. Ooh, that's super soft. The eyeliner is super soft, which is interesting, which is great actually, because you don't want too much drag on your eyelids. That's a really pretty color too. It's great brown. It's got a little bit of warmth to it, which is nice. And then we have the lips. Now, I was a little hesitant about the lips because the way he described them, they're mattes. One is a matte balm and one is a ultra matte. And I was like, ew, ultra matte? I don't know if I could do that. But we're gonna try it out. This is called Call Me Peaches. That's what it looks like in the bullet. And let's see how it looks on the hand. We'll see if I can wear it. Oh, that feels creamy. That's fine. That's not, okay. See, mattes have come a long way. A long, long way. So that's Call Me Peaches. It reminds me a little bit of the Tom Ford, the new one that came out with the palette I didn't like. Oh my goodness, what was it? Belle de Peche. There was a lipstick that came with it. I can't remember anything right now, but anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. And I have it. Rest in Roses is the matte balm. That, oh, that's really pretty. Those are both great. And that's more pigmented than most balms. This is what it looks like in the tube, so it definitely looks deep. But it's not as deep on the lip. But I think both are very pretty. That's a nice rosy kind of balm. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna swatch this for you, and I know you've seen this like probably in a bunch of places, but what you have to understand about each one of these shades is that there's a gradation here. So basically what it is you're going from the more intense to the lighter shade. And you see this like when you use Microsoft, I forgot the name of the design application. It'll come to me later. It's been a long, I was sick actually, and you can kind of hear it in my voice. So I'm just, my brain is not quite fully recovered. But when you're using Illustrator, you can see, or if you just use like fonts and you're trying to come up with a color, there's like the gradation of the shade. So it moves from a very light to a deep. And so because of that, what you can do with this is you can swatch the deep end and the light end of each shade. So here, this is the shade Alter Ego, and this is the quote deep end. I'm gonna build it up just a little so you can see what I'm talking about. Make sure I have my microfiber towel here. And then you can go into the middle of the shade where you have a little less intensity. And then you can go into the very light end of the shade and you get that gradation of the shade. And you can do that in all of these. So for this one is, the shade is Match and Made. So literally these two top ones, Alter Ego and Match and Made, are super easy to use because they're neutrals And you can literally take these shades and create a very everyday, simple to use, everyone can, you can build these up too. They have more intensity. Everyone can create a sort of neutral look if they want to. But there's enough shades in here with the pinks and the blues that you can literally create almost any shade because you can mix them as well. If you remember your color story from, training from a young age, you mix colors together to get another color, right? So blue and yellow make green kind of thing. So you can mix these, which I think is awesome. And they are very smooth. They go on really easily. I'm noticing right now that as I swatch them, there's not that much kick up in the pan and they feel silky. So that's nice. So you can blend them really easily. And I could start blending these shades out if I wanted to and create different shades. But you don't have to blend them out to create different shades. You could stay in one, rectangle and just create a shade, create a look by doing that. And I'm gonna do that today because what I noticed in the comments about people asking me to do this Hindash palette was that you're like, can you make it wearable? It's truly, in my opinion, gonna be really, really easy to do a wearable look. As I talked about on the 14th, I'm now an affiliate of Esom Cosmetics, which I'm very excited about. I've been a fan of Esom Cosmetics for a long time. Use Beauty Pro. They have great products on the site with Viseart and a whole bunch of other things. And then of course the Esom brand. I have a bunch of Esom brushes, and as I said in my video on the 14th, they were kind enough to send me some brushes that actually I don't have, and I talked about them in the video, and I'm gonna be using them today. But it's a really great brand, and I'm so excited about the mascara. So I'll be using that again today. All right, so what I was thinking we could do is use the purple on the eye, and then we could use the petal, the heavy and petal for the cheeks, the heartthrob for like a little bit more of a bronze kind of contour thing, and the match made as well. Now I also picked up, and I didn't mention it, I should have mentioned it before, because where is it? Where did I put it? And I also have the color fluid. This is Boy Tears, and I'll show you that one when we get to it. But this is actually a lot of fun too, and I'll use this on the eye at the end. Why don't let's start actually with the face. Why not? Let's start with that. So let's use the Heart and Throb and the Match and Made. So these are the Heart and Throb. These are the ones I showed you. Had more of like that reddish, and this shade here, because I think we can do a little bit of contouring and a little bit of bronzing. That's the great thing about these palettes. I think it can do a lot more than you think it can. Now the Beautopsy had those kinds of shades in it as well. So I think, I think that's kind of his point. Like you can use things in different ways depending on what you're trying to achieve. So I'm taking the Match and Made, and I'm just going in the deepest end of it and kind of putting some like contour here. And I also want to mention, as I'm doing this, and I'm just rubbing it in, I'm not doing anything unique. You know that TikTok viral thing, if you've been on TikTok and seen it, where it shows you where to put contour, and it has like this little band, this little triangle that shows you up here? That's not contour. Just so you know, contour. And I often say things like bronze, contour, slash, because the reason I say that is because a lot of people have used the two interchangeably. Technically, that's not true. Contour, in and of itself, is a shadow. It's supposed to hollow out an area. So where you want to see something shadowed, pushed back, that's a contour. It has like a grayish tone to it, which is why I think the Western Atelier Biscuit and the new Rare Beauty Happy Soul are great contours because they are cooler leaning. The Happy Soul is still a little bit bronzier than what I really love is a true contour, but it works. When you're looking at this point of your face, this is where the sun would hit. And so that was what you'd want to do as a bronzer. You don't want to put a gray tone here. But a lot of contours, they call it contours, are actually quite bronzy. And so just, you know, it gets confusing and you don't have to follow any rules. I'm a big believer in doing, like I said at the beginning, what you like. But I'm telling you right now, if you start to put a grayish shade right here, you're just gonna look like you got hit in the face. Because a contour has like this grayish tone to it that is great for hollowing something out, but it's not great for putting it at the high points of your face because it just looks, a little odd. So I use like in this area when you want to kind of cut your like chin or something, you know, that you can put a bronze over it, like to bronze up your neck or whatever. But when you're trying to create a shadow, go with the, you know, the cooler tone, the grayer tone. Okay, so just doing, I don't really contour my nose. It's just not something I really do. But you can absolutely with this contour. I feel like a little bit, I ascribe a little bit to the Bobbi Brown way of thinking, like your nose is fine. Leave it alone. But if you really like to do that, you can certainly do that with this palette. Okay, done. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the Heart and Throb, because this has like a little bit more of a reddish, and I'm gonna use a very big brush. And I'm just gonna kind of, you notice I'm hitting sort of the high part of my face because that's where the sun would hit it. And because I have paler skin, this reddish tone to this Heart and Throb is fine because that's actually what happens to me when I sit out in the sun. I really don't tan. Like it's just not, doesn't happen. And so what that does is it kind of gives you like a little bit of a sun-kissed look. I remember my mom when I was young would be like, oh, you look, you know, like healthy because you've had some sun. I'm like, no, I look burnt because I never tanned. I have, as I've mentioned, I'm Ukrainian. I have Ukrainian descent, Ukrainian Czech, but I also have Sicilian. That's where the hair comes from and the lack of height because I'm short, but I did not pick up the Ukrainian skin, unfortunately. So I just burn. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take all this stuff back. All right, so we're gonna talk about the boy tears. Now I'm gonna use this on my eyes at the end, but I also wanna show you, so it just comes in like, you know, little, and it can be, you can put it on thicker, you can build it. But that's what it looks like. It's just a very, very sheer, I'd say peachy gold. It's not cool leaning, but it's not super warm either. It's like one of those shades that's gold, you know, like a yellow gold. And that's what I was worried about. I was worried it was gonna be like a yellow gold and that does not work on me. So I'm gonna take what's on the back of my hand and just kind of press it here. Because I feel like it'll be a very subtle highlight for me. Yep. It's kind of shiny. Like little micro glitters, but not a lot. I think in my opinion, if you want like a very bright highlighter, this isn't gonna be what you want. I think you could build it to be, but I think as a product, I think you can use it on your face, absolutely, on your cheeks, but I'm gonna use it mostly on the eyes once I get to it. All right, so now I think it's clearer how you use these shades as a neutral, right? Like, because they're just neutral looks. And we've used already this shade and this shade on the face. I wanna use a little bit of this pink actually on my cheeks. I forgot to do that, hold on, let me do that. Let's take a little bit of the, I'm gonna go with a little bit of the lighter side, and we're just gonna pop a little. Look how pretty that is. You know, talk about like if you're traveling and you just need one palette. Look at that. I've got a little bit of bronzer, I've got a little bit of contour, I got a little bit of blush. All in one palette, which makes it really convenient. All right, so now let's do the purple. I'm drawn to the blue, I admit, but let's use the purple. So I'm gonna go with the deepest side of this. And this brush is the Isom V33 brush. It's crease kind of brush. And we're gonna work this deeper shade into just the outer part of the eye. I'm just gonna literally, right here, concentrate it. It's gonna be the deepest shade. And then I'm gonna pull it into the crease, but I'm gonna keep it kind of high and kind of targeted. So I'm gonna create like a line almost, and I'm not gonna go all the way into the eye with it. Again, just gonna swirling it here on the outside of the eye, and then swirling, going in. All right, we'll do the same thing on the other side. And the reason I'm keeping it a little higher instead of going on the crease is I want there to be more of a line, a demarcation between the shades, because I want to show you how you can use just literally, and maybe I'll use some blue at the end to sort of mix it in so you can see what I'm saying. You could just go with just this one thing. You don't have to jump around. This is going to be easy for somebody who actually doesn't really, like play with color very often and feels intimidated by it. This is one of the easier palettes to start with, actually, because it's just stay in the gradation and it's going to look great. All right, so I put that on the eye, right? I've got it as a sort of a line there, and I'm going to buff it out just a little teeny bit. All I'm going to do is just kind of go like this to soften up the top of it. Just doing that just to soften up the top line. And what this does is it kind of blends it into the brow a little bit, but you still have that line on the eye itself. Okay, now we're gonna go into the middle part, same brush, and I'm actually gonna just go over this on the outside. And now I'm gonna kind of go right into the crease. So it's basically like straight ahead, back and forth like a windshield. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we've intensified it and we've kind of fluffed it out a little. So now we're gonna take the lightest shade that's in here on the purple gradation, and we're just gonna put that on the lid. Just going in the lightest part of the purple. And I'm just placing it on the lid. And you're done. You have a look. Look how it's beautiful. It's all one shade, but you've got demarcation of the intensity of the shades. And it really took nothing. I mean, it was just super easy to do, and it looks beautiful, and it looks neutral, like work appropriate, but it's just a brighter shade than like the Alter Ego or the Match and Made. That's all. It's just a more colorful, but everyday kind of look, right? Now, that's the simplest look you could do with this. It's, like I said, super easy to use, and anyone can do it. If you want to get a little bit more creative, let's take the deeper blue shade. So let's go into the deepest part of the blue, and let's just intensify the outer side. Now, if you mix a blue, put this type of blue over the purple, what you're going to get is just a deeper, bluer purple. More like, a grape kind of shade than the lilac-y kind of shade that you get when you leave it by itself. Nothing crazy, just, mixing some shades here. This palette's so easy to use. It's actually genius because you can do all kinds of creative things with it, but you can keep it very simple. Now I'm also gonna go into the Alter Ego and do this super light shade here on the edge. Like this is like the creamy shade. And let's just place that a little bit over in this like inner corner kind of part of the eye, just to keep that very light. Let's take the very light shade of the Heavy and Petal. Didn't do much, just added a little bit, and you get this gorgeous, gorgeous look. And it really isn't, quote, too much for a lot of people who are like, well, I don't use color, I'm just blending a little. I don't use color that often. I won't use this palette. Look at that. Really spring, bright and beautiful, easy to use. And the shades blend really, really well. I think they look great. Now, before we get to using the eyeliner or anything else, and I don't think I'm going to use the eyeliner today because I think with this purple shade, I don't really love the idea of a brown liner. I'm going to take a little of the Boy Tears, okay? And I'm just going to take a little teeny bit. So you see how it looks right now? Let's just put the tiniest amount. Now, I don't know how quickly this dries. That I'm not sure about. So let's just let it sit for a second. I don't think it dries that fast. I'm sort of just patting it in. Oh, it leaves a lovely sheen. It's just a very nice, like light, it's actually way more subtle than you'd think it would be. And let's see if we can build it. I'll use my finger and kind of just, yeah, you can definitely get a much more intense, glittery look depending on how you want to use it. It's actually really subtle. Like you could, this doesn't look like it's going to be subtle, but it is. It's really nice. Let's put on some mascara, which I said today I'm going to use the Esam mascara again because I'm really liking this mascara. They were kind enough to send it to me, and again, thank you Esam for doing that. But this is, I really like it. It's a good mascara. It's, well, you'll see in the video that I'm recording this before the actual video goes up, but you'll see. It's a very good mascara. All right, so let me put the mascara on, and then we'll move to lips. Okay, everybody, so I have the Esam Cosmetics mascara on. As I said in my video, this is a really good mascara. It's lengthening, it's volumizing, it stays on. It's easy to come off though. It doesn't like, you know, I don't have to like pull at my lashes to get it off. I just think it looks really good. Anytime a mascara can volumize and lengthen and not be difficult to get off, but be waterproof, that's a win in my book. All right, so let's take the Hindash. This is the Hush liner. So this is a drier pencil than I usually use. It's not bad, it's just drier, and my lips are very dry. You know what this reminds me of? This looks a lot like the MAC Spice Liner that I wore all the time. I mean, all the time. I bet you if I'll have to pull it out. I'll have to find my old MAC Spice Liner. I bet you the shades are very close because this is sending me back into the 90s and early 2000s. Spice Liner was like all I used. It looks very similar and it feels similar too. A drier pencil on your lips isn't necessarily bad, even if you have dry lips, because it does stay. That's the thing I will say. A lot of times if you have a really creamy lip liner, it disappears. The Sisley doesn't. The Sisley is creamy, but also, in my opinion, stays on. So, all right, so let's take the hair down because it's important, I think, when you're using a lip product to see how it, you know, goes against your hair. All right, my hair's flyaway today. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I think it's somehow like too dry. Anyway, who knows? Okay, so let's use the Ultra Balm, the Ultra Matte. This is the Peaches one. What's the name of this? Call Me Peaches, because the balm I think is gonna be fine, but let's see how the matte, Ultra Matte works. Actually quite creamy. It doesn't feel matte. All the new mattes don't feel matte to me. All the new mattes feel like creamy. Anyway, great color. Great color, feels really comfortable on the lips. Definitely has a peach tone. Yeah, it's nice. My hair is so flyaway. Why is it doing that? I don't know what's happening. Okay, anyway, it looks good, guys. If you have extremely dry lips, like I have right now, because I have been kind of sick, so my lips are even drier, you can see that it's not as smoothing. Do you know what I mean? Like there's more lines, but it's not like the lips of, you know, the matte lips of old. It's a creamy matte, and it actually looks quite nice on the lips. You did a good job. Can't wait to try the balm. Okay, so to wrap up, we have on the Givenchy matte foundation, and I have to say, I actually think it looks quite good. It hasn't settled into any lines. It has an accentuated texture. It doesn't even look like a matte, to be honest with you guys. It just looks skin-like. I don't even know if I'd call it, I mean, I understand it's a matte foundation, but it's a skin-caring matte. It's very smooth. It looks really nice on. It doesn't look too dry. If your skin is supremely dry, like my skin now is it's come to the point where it's dry, but not as dry as it used to be. I don't know. I mean, it's still a matte, so it's a radiant kind of matte, but you know, if you have really super dry skin and lots of lines, maybe this isn't for you. If not, I'd say go with you know, if you're like that, I would probably go with the Skin Care and Glow, just because I feel like this does not impart a glow. This has a matte kind of look, but I think it actually looks quite nice, and it looks very smooth, and it creates a beautiful canvas. So I do really like it. Like I said, I think the shade is a tad bit too deep, but yeah, not too bad. Not as bad as some others have been. So what was the shade again? 2C180. I think it's close. I think it's very close. The undertones are right. But I think it's just a tad bit too deep. It is different in shade than the TC180 Glow Foundation, which is actually deeper, which is interesting. So this one actually works a little bit better because I've tried the Glow recently and I was like, oh wow, it's actually a little deep. The Hindash products, they're beautiful. He did a really good job. I've used everything on my face except for the mascara is Hindash, and I have to say, guys, the powders, you know, they work really nicely. I've got them basically as blush, contour, bronzer on the eyes. He did a really good job. The products work extremely well. They're silk-like. They blend beautifully. They don't accentuate texture on my eyes. They look really nice on the face as well because I've got it as contour, bronzer, and blush. The Boy Tears. The Boy Tears is probably the least favorite to me just because I think it's a very subtle glow and I think it looks very pretty. It's kind of like little micro glitters, but I don't really use that very often. And although I think it looks pretty on the eye as like an over the powder, I have a little bit of mascara on my eyes. Well, sorry about that, but I probably wouldn't use this that often. It's just not really me. I think it's a nice product, and it works, but it's not my favorite. The lips, the liner is like the Spice liner. I'm gonna have to find the Spice liner and try it. It's a little bit drier, but I think it's gonna stay because it wasn't so dry that it had to drag. So I think it's all right. It's not my favorite liner, but it's a good color, and I'm pretty sure it's very similar to Spice. The matte lipstick is very smooth. It feels very creamy, so it's not the typical matte. And I haven't tried the balm yet, but I'm looking forward to that. The liner, I think, is going to be a great liner. Let me just try really quickly here. Yeah, it's super smooth. I thought it would be because I could feel it on my hand. It's a super smooth liner. Is it better than any other eyeliner? I mean, eyeliner is kind of hard to be totally revolutionary. We'll see how long it lasts or if it transfers. But it is really pretty and it is smooth. It goes on easily, which is always nice. You know, you don't want something that's going to drag. Let me see how it works if I try to put it on over the mascara. My lashes are long, so it's kind of hard to get it. No, it works really well, actually. It's very pretty. This is a good brown shade. Like, I like it it's a warm brown. It's deep enough though, so it's not like if you want something that's not black, but you want a deep brown shade, it's a really pretty shade. I have to say, all in all, I think this is a really versatile, really nice collection. Yeah, I think it works well. I think it's not as scary as you might think. I mean, the reason I'm focusing on that is because I got a lot of comments that are like, well, I would never buy that. It's too complicated for me to use, or I'm intimidated by it. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be really easy. It's going to be self-explanatory when you start playing with it. I think it's a really nice collection, and everything in it is so far so good. Like I said, the Boy Tears is probably my least favorite, just because I'm probably not going to use it. But other than that, I think it looks really good. And the mascara, the Issa mascara, as I said in my video, guys, it's really good mascara. I think it really does lengthen and volumize. It is one of those mascaras that's a little more like your lashes, not that they stick together, I don't mean that. It's that because it can build, you know, you're not going to get a long spiky look. So if you like that long spiky look, it's not going to do that because it's volumizing as well, which is what I like. So that's why I like this one. But yeah, I think it's a really good mascara. So far so good, guys. No fails today. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. Really do appreciate it. Hope to see you in another video really soon.